Hello, it's Rebecca. I'm back. I am working on a new house, and I've worked on several of these during the Christmas season, and they're for gifts. So I just wanted to show you, this is another custom house that I'm working on, and I have to send it out in the next couple of days. Okay, so the basic setup of the house is an L shape. So you would start with the core of the house, and basically it's this kind of shape. So whatever base you put it on, you measure out, this is a 10-inch base, and you want to have a little room. There's not much for landscape on this house, so I use the full size of the board, and approximately you measure and you figure out how tall you want it to be. And in previous videos I've showed you that you use the styrofoam, and you glue together the styrofoam. So you would glue it together, you measure it, glue it together. It needs another piece right here, and you let it dry. So that's the basic part of the house, the core of the house. So on this house, they had these areas in the house. They were all the same except for this one. So after I set up the core of the house and let that dry, then I set these up. There was 5 in total, and one is a different shape. So I used foam board, and I cut 5 of these, all the same shape, glued it together, and let that dry. And then once that was dry, then I used the shade of paper that I wanted to use, and I glued that on top. And I set, and right here too, and I let those dry. So after those 5 pieces dried, and then the one that's a different shape, I glued those onto the core. I actually covered the core first with the shade of, it would be the siding of the house or the paint of the house. So I covered the L-shape core with paper. Then I glued these on to that. So that's how you see that you just build on and build on until you get the shape of the house. And I added a little patio. That's the driveway, walkway. And then I'm just going to show you real quick how to do a porch. So there's a couple of ways you could do this. With this one, I used a little X-Acto knife, and I cut into the foam board after everything was all glued and dried in place. And I made a little incision, and then I used a piece of paper. This one's like a thicker, heavier paper, and I made the slit, and then I used tacky glue, and I put the paper in there. So it's actually more like a cardboard than a paper. So I'm going to build the porch on top of that, but everything that I use is very lightweight. So this is going to support the porch, the roof of the porch. Everything is lightweight. So you don't have to use, you can use plastic, you can use a harder material. I use cardboard. It's working out fine. So another piece of foam board is going to be glued in place right underneath the overhang. And then you can use popsicle sticks. It depends on the shape that you want. the poles to be. So these are actually, I shop a lot in the baking section, baking craft section. I kind of cross over those two things a lot into my work. Like this is a cake board. So these are popsicle sticks, and I just measured, I made the hole, and I cut it with some pliers. I always have my wire cutters or pliers on hand. And then I'm just going to stick it right under there and glue it all into place with tacky glue. So, but you want to make sure that the poles are inserted so that they're sturdy, but also touching the top. And I just used tacky glue to do that. And before I glue this into place, I'm going to put the front door on. And then that will be my porch. And after the poles are dry and feels, you know, nice and firm, then I'll add the covering, and I'll show you another video for that.